Can I see myself?
Greetings, Duan. Good to see you.
Good afternoon, Dr. Dove.
Good afternoon. I'm in the process of moving, so if you hear noises of furniture moving and things happening, that's what's happening.
Okay.
But I'm here.
How are you doing? You good?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Um, Sad I'm going, but happy I'm going.
Yeah.
Glad you're getting in before,
Yeah.
in
Before
time,
tea
kind
time?
of,
Yes.
yeah. Be a relief.
Yeah, I'm glad things eventually worked out.
Mm,
With patience.
yeah, you have to have it.
Hey, Dr. Flannery. We waiting on who?
Hello. We're
Hello.
waiting on Davis and Williams.
How are you, Dr. Flannery?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
Blessed.
Good.
Highly favored.
Hey everybody, hey Dr. Dove. Oh, put my mic on the table. Hey Duan, hey Dr. Dove, Chanedu, Dr. Flannery, Jasmine, who else can I see? Angela, Kenneth. Good luck, Duan.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Lovely to see you.
Great to see you, Dr. Dove. Great
Thank
to see you.
you.
I'm
Thank
gonna
you.
miss you.
I shall miss you too.
Dr. Flannery, hello.
Hi, Dr. Peterson. Lewis. Um, let's see.
Mm.
It's 104. Mhm.
You okay? Okay. This is his dissertation.
Oh, she's right there. Hey, Dr. Williams. Now we're just waiting on Dr. Davis. She connected. Dr. Williams.
Hello.
Okay. Hey. All right, so we're just waiting on Dr. Davis.
Yes, as soon as we see him, we're going to get started, and Dr. Dove is going to carry us forward as the chair of the meeting.
Okay.
So, hmm.
Should have got his number.
Do you have his phone number, Duan?
No, that's what I was saying. I should have got it beforehand.
Okay.
No.
Who is it? Dr. James? Dr. James Davis?
Yep.
Somebody sent him an email already?
I'm sending it to him now.
Okay. Dr. Flannery, you know Siri. Well, many of you know Siri McDougall, right?
Yes.
He took the picture in my background. He took this picture when he was in the Valley of the Kings in Egypt, and sent it to me one year. So people say it looks like I'm trying to imitate the divine. I'm not. I'm just showing my former student's picture.
Oh,
It's kind of, now that I look at it, it does look like I have a halo. Don't believe it.
that's
It looked
very,
like
very nice.
AI picture at first, Dr. Peterson Lewis.
What'd you say, Duan?
It looked like it was AI at first.
Oh, no.
I'm glad you cleared that up for me.
No, Siri McDougall took it in the Valley of the Kings. I asked him to take me a picture of a beautiful sunset in Egypt, and there it is. It's about 4 years old now. And I can never find it when I want it, but it showed up for you, Duan. So that's a good, showed up for you and Dr. Dove. So that's a good sign.
Stunningly beautiful.
See if I can make it into a halo.
You have one already.
I'm about to lose it though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm about to lose it this year.
Duan, let me know if you hear anything back. I haven't seen anything on my email from Dr. Davis, but in the event that he's late or doesn't arrive in the next minute, we still have quorum with 3 of the 4 committee members. So that's plan B to advance in like another 2 minutes or so.
Okay.
And I'm gonna disappear now, but just wanted to say best wishes, Dawn.
Thank you for stopping by.
Okay, I'm not leaving. I'm just moving my pick. I'm
Of
just
course, of course.
disappearing. Okay.
And this is recorded, right? So that he can see the recording for notes
Yep, I'm
if he
recording.
doesn't arrive. Okay, perfect. That's good.
Oh, he said I might resend it to him. He said he was looking for the jump link. Hear me, Dr. Flannery?
Okay, yeah, I was just emailing him again, but you said he responded. You're gonna send him the link, right? I know the
Yeah.
link changed recently, so
Mhm.
okay. I think he's here. Okay.
Oh, hey, Dr. Davis. Glad you can join us.
Is your speaker working, Dr. Davis?
I hope so. Can you hear
Yeah,
me?
we
Oh,
can hear
okay,
you
there you
now.
are.
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry about my
Good.
delay.
It's all good.
Picture.
Jennifer, are you there? Dr. Williams?
I'm here.
Okay. So we're going to get started, and I'm very grateful to have Duan Woods here and all of you people here in the summertime for this
Mhm.
dissertation defense in Africology and African American Studies at Temple University. Dr. Dove is going to be our chair of this defense today, and she's going to let you all know what's to come in the rules of the defense online. Thank you.
Greetings, everybody. I didn't know I was going to be the chair of the defense, so I will do my best to carry out the rules. And if I go wrong, you will be there to guide me. Welcome, everybody. Our committee here, well, first of all, Duan is defending his dissertation on more than the narrative. Excellent dissertation. I'm just adding my own little bit to it, but I'm not prejudicing anything. Dr. Flannery, you are the guiding light and the advisor for Duan's work, and Dr. James Earl Davis, you are also a high-profile committee member of this illustrious group, and there is another person. Who is the other person now?
Hi, it's me, Dr. Williams.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Dr. Williams. But welcome to the to this event, and I will put you in order of questions, and then I will ask the last question at the end as I'm the chair. So I think we will begin with Dr. Williams. Would that be all right with you?
Oh, well, Dewan is going to present his
Oh,
presentation
yeah,
first.
yeah, that's right. See, I knew you could guide me. So, Duan, could you give us, I think, a 20-minute presentation
Yes, ma'am.
on your work? And we look forward to that. And then we'll, each one of us will ask you the questions, beginning with Dr. Williams.
Okay, perfect. Let me share my slide. All right, everyone can see?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect. All right, thank you all for joining me for my dissertation defense. Duan Woods, PhD candidate at Temple University, getting my doctorate in Africology and African American Studies. I would like to thank my advisor, Dr. Flannery, and my committee members, Dr. Davis, Dr. Dove, and the late addition, Dr. Williams, for supporting me through my research. And here we go. So the inspiration before my research begins in 2018, 2019. There's a lot of social media presence discussing Black manhood and the new term toxic masculinity, toxic Black masculinity is being often brought about in conversations. And one of the one of the famous social media pundits and like ESPN journalist, Jamel Hill, retweets and reposts an article that states Black men are the white people of the community, of the Black community. And it kind of spearheaded a lot of conversations within the discussion of Black manhood and how society started to commonly demonize and define how they see Black manhood for themselves. And even so, a recent conversation when I was out with my friends at a restaurant called Blue Sunday. It was a group of my male friends and a few other ladies with us. And a woman comes up to us and asks us, do Black men deserve more? And we were kind of taken aback by that question. We've never heard it before. And we were shockingly, yeah, I guess so. Why not? Why don't we deserve more? And one of the ladies that was with us responded for us saying, Black men actually deserve less. Black men should start off life in jail and etc. And we were like taken aback, like, why would she say such a thing in front of us? And it wasn't until another Black woman who heard nearby was like, that we shouldn't speak like that towards Black men. It's not a positive representation, and it's not wise for Black men to have Black women around them who speak like that in their company. And this kind of is the following of what leads us into Stanley Elkins's Slavery and Daniel Moynihan's The Negro Family, where these white authors discuss the Black community and Black men's roles in the Black community, starting with enslavement and how enslavement kind of restricted and impacted Black manhood and gave way to the caricatures of the Black male brute or the Sambo. And because of these characters that were developed during enslavement, Black men are no longer able to fulfill the gender roles within the Black community, and that's why we have more matriarchal families than in other communities. And this leads Richard Majors, a Black psychologist, to talk about the cool pose, where he states that Black manhood is defined about being cool. And because being cool is the foundation of Black manhood, it gives way to hypermasculine ideals about chasing women, dealing drugs, being in the streets, etc. And that is caused by the stripping of Black maleness during enslavement. So all of these ideas and theories about what Black manhood is, and none of these authors took the time to actually ask Black men, how do they feel Black manhood is defined? And whereas my research comes in and going against common narratives about how Black manhood is represented and defined. And my dissertation highlights the positive experiences within Black manhood, starting from ancient Africa to the 21st century, and allowing Black men to define their experiences for themselves. So my research questions for my dissertation, what are the cultural characteristics and historical narratives that have contributed to the evolvement of Black manhood? How Black men navigated social and familial responsibilities over time? And what role do Black men play in redefining Black manhood in response to racial and social injustice today? So the problem, like I said, begins in 19th century, also known as 1800s, where minstrel shows show and depict Black men as being infantile, hypersexual, hyperaggressive, and these stereotypes are continued throughout Western media today. And the idea of the Black male brute is the foundation of the idea of Black toxic masculinity and how Black manhood has lost its cultural identity by aiming to replicate white patriarchal or hegemonic traditional white hegemonic roles. So my research counters these existing narratives that suggest that Black manhood. In my research, I suggest that Black manhood has retained more culturally African principles than people give Black men credit for. And it was important for me to differentiate the difference between masculinity and manhood in my research because masculinity refers to the characteristics associated with being a male, while manhood is the responsibilities aligned with being an adult male. And Siri McDougall in his Black Men Studies talks about the difference between Eurocentric masculinity and Afrocentric masculinity, where Eurocentric masculinity is individualistic, misogynistic, authoritative, seeks competition and is aggressive and self-reliant, while Afrocentric masculinity should be should be pro-woman, communalistic, xenophilic, self-aware, be providers, nurturers, share collective responsibility, spiritual, self-determined, and goal-oriented. So the purpose of my study is to challenge the ongoing conversations about Black men and how their experiences of Black manhood is more nuanced in the Black community, expanding the understanding of how we see and define Black manhood and Black men. Within my dissertation, I examine intersectionality, how race, gender, education, class should be added to the context of how we define Black manhood and suggest that we still have retained and practice some African values today. So with my research, I recognize how agency within Black manhood contextualizes their experiences and behaviors and how Black men prioritize self-determination, community, and racial solidarity over time. My literature review looked at how past literature often criticized Black men, Black manhood in ways that overlooked their significant roles in slave rebellions and how they continue activism after emancipation. The three main books that fuel my research is Tommy Curry's The Man Not, where he talks about how society has simplified Black manhood to be reproducers and desirers rather than people who resist and disown white systemic patriarchy. With Thomas A. Foster's Rethinking Rufus, he talks about how Black men, enslaved Black men, experience sexual exploitation that often goes undiscussed when looking at enslaved people's experiences and how they were forced to have sexual relationships with forced breeding, um, castrations, etc., and how it impacted their mentality, their family, and their roles within their community. Lastly, Siri McDougal's Black Men Studies, he challenges the narrative of Black manhood losing its Afrocentric values and argues that these values haven't been erased, but they have been suppressed because of slavery, colonialism, and systemic racism, but they still are prevalent today. The methods I used within my research, I talked a little bit about intersectionality already, but I also include Afrocentricity with Dr. Asante defining Afrocentricity as the study of African people through an Afrocentric lens, where Black people's experiences are at the forefront of the research. And this intertwines with Black male studies because Tommy Curry asserts that Black male studies is the first comprehensive disciplinary field where Black men's experiences are put at the forefront, and they talk about the Black men's vulnerabilities with racial, sexual, economic disparities within the community and how it all ties to their experiences of being Black boys in America and outside. In my chapter 1 with manhood in ancient Africa, I talk about the gender practices of African males and before European contact and what they did within the cultural traditions of the ancestors. Chapter 2 talks about the Black male body and how enslavers aim to minimize Black manhood and agency, but Black men fought back to maintain relationships with their loved ones and maintain their self-determination. In my chapter 3, the new Black man era, I focus on the transition period after enslavement, going into the Reconstruction and the Jim Crow era, where Black men are migrating from the South to the North to find employment, and legislation is being passed to hinder their ability to provide for their families. And that's why you have the Harlem Renaissance and the Civil Rights Movement and the Black Power movement. In the last chapter, I talk about the interpretations of Black manhood with Black people starting to get their foot in the door with Hollywood and positive representations of Black people are being on film and TV, and how Black men take advantage of this and show positive representations of themselves. And in the end of the chapter, I do interviews with my friends and my family to discuss how they define Black manhood and how they experience it in America. So for my Black manhood in ancient Africa chapter, the questions I asked were, what jobs did men in ancient Africa work? How did they support their families? What concept of manhood in ancient Africa reflect the values, social beliefs, and the structures of these societies? Looking at men in spirituality, how gender was seen differently compared to now, and how men and women worked alongside each other during these times, and it's especially the importance of men in the community and how everybody, all the males within the community, whether it be an uncle or a grandparent, they were seen as fathers to the younger boys. The Black male body, I ask, how did Black men assert agency to maintain their personal freedom and familiar relationships during slavery? How did they seek freedom and afterwards try to find employment, or how do they try to stay free during these times? And what outlets did they use to seek manhood, though enslavement was happening? and I look at forced breeding and how Black men were enduring enslavers whose main objective was to break what they call the buck, like buckful or rebellious Black men who needed what they define as like breaking and needed to be obedient to their enslavers, and how marriage and fatherhood looked during these times. The new Black man era, I talk about Black codes and with Jim Crow, how did Black men find jobs, whether it be sharecropping or going back to their former enslavers to find work? What did familial and marriage relationships look like for Black men during this time? And what other experiences that Black manhood or Black men shared with their community through literature? There's a lot of Black male leaders and intellectuals coming out in the early 1900s with Booker T. Washington, W.B. Du Bois, Carter G. Woodson, and they all have their ideas of where they feel that the Black community and Black men should focus on. And I end that chapter with the interview with my grandfather and his experience about how it was for him growing up in Richmond, Virginia in the 50s and 60s. My last chapter, I ask, how did the Black men's perspective shift with the seeing positive representations through the media and with the interviews with my friends and family? I mainly ask, how is contemporary manhood defined, and how do their role models impact how they are fathers now, or how their roles in relationships and their partnerships now, whether there is pressure to be a protector and provider for their families, and contemporarily, how do we redefine fatherhood, and what does fatherhood look like now as therapy and emotional maturity is becoming more a necessity for the Black community. So in conclusion, Black manhood will continue to evolve within its traditional characteristics of communalism, self-determination, and role modeling. From ancient Africa to America, Black men have prioritized family and community, and now prioritizing their mental health. This research expands the conversation of Black male studies beyond the quote unquote oppressive consciousness, where there's a lot of red pill media and social media personalities that discuss the victimhood of Black men. Now, while Black men go through specific oppressions and disparities, it's also important to recognize the agency that Black men have as well. And within that, Black men also deserve the grace of intersectionality of race, gender, and class and education to define their male experiences, and with the application of agency and racial solidarity, we would see it as a society that there are nuanced definitions and experiences of Black manhood that are more diverse than society portrays. And yeah, that's it. Thank you all for stopping by and supporting me. Comments, concerns, and love and critiques.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your presentation, Duan, and for tackling a very difficult situation in this current administration and in the US from its beginning. So thank you. And I'd like to, to ask Dr. Williams to be the first person to ask her question to you, Duan. Thank you.
Greetings. Good afternoon on the East Coast. Have three questions, and the third one has two parts. But uh, first question is looking at specifics of like the historical analysis that you we're doing. And so in chapter 4, you discuss, the people we know, Du Bois, Washington, Woodson, and Locke, as Black men leaders who offer differing views of manhood in that late 19th, early 20th era. What do you see as the most significant traits of continuity and rupture between their models and the forms of Black manhood that occurred during the Black Power and Black exploitation era? So how do we connect the end of that time until the 1960s, basically?
So the more common themes that I see within the Black intellectuals was racial solidarity and education and finding ways of employment, rather it be getting an education or working in agriculture or picking up a skill. A lot of them were focusing on how Black men can redefine themselves and build skills within themselves to exemplify or show that they are men to themselves and to the community and be able to provide for the community through the work that they're doing or their education.
How do you see that in the 60s, though? I know some of that is like, Washington's ideas and Du Bois, but then in the 60s, there are some shifts to strength or not hypermasculinity per se. We can like take that as a
Yeah,
problematic term, but even like
yeah.
showing a dominance to the white supremacy, right?
Mhm. I think the 60s is in its own experience because we have Martin Luther King and MLK with their assassinations. It's a shift become with the Black Panthers and um, taking up guns and bearing arms and taking that into themselves. I think that's when it shifts more into the protector
Hmm.
type of idea. And yeah, it shifts more into the protector provider type of mentality that is more common today. And the those ideas weren't often discussed back then, but within that time, because of police brutality, it became more prevalent during the 60s.
Then I'm going to do question 3, so we'll skip 2 for a second.
Okay.
But then I know there are limitations to writing these documents, right? We're writing a lot of pages, and so we can't do everything. So I am kind of wondering why you didn't do the last like 20 years, because this is where, like you said, a lot of your ideas about like toxic masculinity are coming from. So that 2000 to 2020 moment. Um, One, why didn't you include it? Because there are a lot of things that are going on, like are saying there's a visibility of Black gay masculinity kind of in the sphere. Obama was a
Mhm.
clear, representation that a lot of people were like seeing about Black manhood, as well as I said Jordan Peele's Get Out, but just something like there's been masculine representations that people have argued were positive on the screen, depending
Yeah.
on the filmmakers or different people who are doing it. So, um, if you did that period, what do you think would be gained by looking at that as continuing your narrative about manhood? And how would that help you think about the next 20 years of
Mhm.
Black manhood?
So I was seeking to do that with my interviews, and because a majority of my family members and who engaged in the conversation grew up in the 90s and the 2000s, I
Mhm.
was asking them what their understandings of manhood and et cetera came from. And in those conversations, they shared that it was more commonly the people around them rather than what was going on in the media or on television at that time.
Mm.
And I think it was as we see an influx of Black men being more present, these conversations about how Black men are more important to the stability of Black manhood and how Black men see themselves. I think that I was aiming to allow the interviews to speak for what has gone on or what has been the experiences of Black men during that time span. But I'm open to, doing further research to see, what else is there. But to answer your second question, uh, like I was saying, the importance of mental health and emotional intelligence, I think that is where Black manhood is growing and how society is emphasizing the importance of mental health and emotional intelligence. Black men are becoming more susceptible to um these ideas, as in past generations it wasn't as normal, but now that it's vulnerability is being accepted and responded to, Black men are kind of challenged to take on these practices.
And do you think some of these mental health conversations that we're having in the 21st century were embedded in traditional African practices at a previous time?
Say that one more time. What do I think they were embedded?
Yeah.
Repeat your question for me.
The mental health practices that are kind of coming up today, or at least
Mhm.
people have access to, do you think they existed in different forms in traditional African societies?
Not to the same extent. I
Mhm.
think that when it comes to African societies, because there was the concept of Maya imbalance, there wasn't as much pressure for Black men to have a strict idea of what manhood should look like. There was much more free range about how Black male responsibilities, and Black men were only asked to do what they were able to do. And I think that because now society, there's a lot of pressure upon what society feels like men are supposed to do and what their roles are, I think that takes an impact on Black male uh, mental health. And because there wasn't that much pressure going on back then, I think it manifests in a different way and it wasn't as important back then as it is now.
Okay, thank you. That's all my questions.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Williams. Now let us go to Dr. James Earl Davis for your question or questions.
Thank you. And Duan, first, thanks for asking me to be a part of the dissertation committee. And it's been a pleasure for me to see your work develop, thinking about as you were thinking about making this contribution of how we conceptualize um, the historical role of Black men in this idea of manhood, Black manhood over time. Um, there's there's an ambition in this project that you should get a lot of credit for. Ambition in that it's ambition in content and ambition in methodology as well. Um, and as you move across time, sort of with this thread, this kind of Black manhood thread going across time, that's it's an ambitious project, but it's a project that's needed in the literature. And I think your work has the potential to make lots of insightful contributions.
Thank you.
Um, I make those comments to preface my questions for you as you think
Okay.
about the work going forward and how to position the work to make the best argument possible. So,
Mhm.
a few questions. The first is about uh, title. It's
Mhm.
the title of your chapter. It's an odd question, but the title of your chapter 3,
Okay.
the black male body,
Uh-huh.
which is between, which is um, between two time frame chapters.
Hmm.
Um, but you opted not to give this as a kind of a time frame, but as a kind of embodiment. And I'm just curious, why not a time frame like the the chapter that came before and the chapter that came after? Because the way you organize the chapter, it is time framed.
Chronological, yeah.
Yeah.
I think, or I just didn't want to focus on enslavement being the emphasis of the black male experience. I think I wanted to highlight, well, I wanted to highlight how black men wanted to take control of their bodies and have control over themselves and assert agency during that time. I wanted their agency to be the focal point of black men's experiences rather than enslavement.
So is it true that agency of the black male body occurred during this time frame, or or in only in this time frame and not in the time frame that came after? Or is that your argument?
I think it would, I'm saying that black male agency isn't as recognized during this time period as when it comes to the discussion about enslavement in general. Is more so I mean, of course people talk about the the rebellions that happened during enslavement, but when it comes to black men's specific experiences
Hmm.
with castration and families being taken away, and that's why I was kind of highlighting the interviews that enslaved men did after slavery was over to get their experiences about what they encountered during that time, because I think those experiences and how black men asserted agency during that time isn't discussed enough.
Hmm. I think I think you're right. Um, it's not discussed enough. You provide just a little opening for my next question, and it's on about data sources, and
Hmm.
again about the ambition of using sort of narratives across time. Um, you've used slave narratives or narratives of the enslaved, but you've also used interviews from the WPA,
Yeah.
right? Um, but then you also join those with sort of contemporary interviews.
Yep.
What I think you undersell and underplay
Mm.
the use of data
Okay.
and its purpose for the dissertation.
Mm.
I think you just have to be just a little more clear. You don't give yourself enough credit for kind
Mm.
of, I'll call it methodologically. It's really use of data, um,
Yeah.
about the use of data and making those connections
Mm.
between narratives over time, slave
Yeah.
WPA narratives, and then contemporary narratives.
Okay.
I think that's what you are trying to do. And early on in chapter 1, you set us up for that, but you kind of lose that.
Mm.
I want you to punch that.
Yes, sir.
And at the end of the dissertation, remind the reader of how narratives across time inform and is a through line to your thesis. You get that?
Yeah.
You get that?
Mm.
I think you do. I just want you to do it with a little more punch,
Yes, sir.
if you will, because you because you have you have the evidence and you have the method. to
Yeah.
to do that. Um, two two other questions. I'll come back to kind of a broader question.
Okay.
One is um, the in your interrogation of Black manhood, you really focus and your dissertation has been informed around the Black men's role in family and,
Yeah.
and in family roles, as you say, as son, father, brother, spouse.
Hmm.
Um, Even though there are other roles of around manhood that
Hmm.
emerge, but you really focus on family.
Hmm.
But you don't but you don't make an argument why you focus on family.
Hmm.
I I think you could be more explicit about it because how
Okay.
we understand from the literature about Black manhood, it's beyond family. Um,
Hmm.
it's also about one of the core issues about work and
Hmm.
employment, and you move into some of that, particularly in the chapters. Um, But that's a strength and a limitation to focus on family as a kind of way and lens of seeing Black manhood. Um, you're right on target as you're informed by the Moynihan report because that's about family.
Yeah.
Um, but the Moynihan also was a sort of implications about work too.
Yeah.
But maybe one solution is to say this is I've intentionally focused on family, but then there's family connections to other kind of roles around manhood because
Mm.
the connection of family to work, that's one
Yeah.
particular
Okay.
connection of family to community, connection of family to leadership, right? Connection of family to spirituality. Those are
Mm.
those components of manhood that's driving and responsibility that's driving your definition of
Mm.
and kind of your conceptualization of uh, of of manhood. Um, and I think you get there. One of the arguments you get there thinking about manhood, you almost exclusively get there through Tommy Curry,
Mhm.
strength and weaknesses of
Yeah.
that. Um, I can I can understand your point in the critique that Curry has made, and then you're connecting that to this work. But then when you do this really interesting and long quote from Tommy Curry, Tommy mentions these dimensions of manhood. That's kind of
Hmm.
driving thinking about the field of Black male studies. If you read closely, to you have probably there's a citation of a really interesting an article about dimensions of manhood published by Hunter and Davis
Yeah.
35 years ago, and those dimensions he that Curry highlights are not really not his dimensions. They're Hunter Davis's dimensions, which is fine and really interesting. Which now gets me to my next question, and this is I have notes as a follow-up Dr. Williams' question. Um, I think you do you do us a little disservice in your final chapter, thinking
Mm.
about contemporary manhood because you have these really interesting interviews. Um, and I was looking for those interviews to be in more conversation with kind of contemporary commentary, literature, scholarship on contemporary Black manhood, sort of kind
Mm.
of where if it's being viewed through mass media, as you're saying, so what do we see now,
Yeah.
the contemporary version, particularly in this political moment and in this media moment?
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
and in the sports moment too. I was really surprised that I think one of the common images of Black men as athletes,
Mhm.
and whether that's negative or positive. And I think you should probably make just a note of that. And that's one of the kind of the principal ways that the general public actually sees Black men
Mhm.
as athletes. Also, I think you could do just to be a little more expansive in your examples of kind of positive images,
Yeah.
kind of media images, Black men, particularly on television. Um, you, I was surprised that your images, which do portray kind of new, more positive characterizations of Black men, they were still almost all comedies,
Mm. Mm.
which struck me, which may be a commentary about how of kind of how we can present positive images of Black men if it's buffered by comedy
Yeah.
as a venue. Um, Let me see. Did I get through most of my questions?
Oh, well, I'm going to put a limit on it just
Okay.
for the time. And
Thank you.
also, you've been one of the guiding persons in this dissertation. So, um, I want to thank you very much for your questions and insightful thoughts for Duan to ponder on, for future development. And I would really like to Dr. Flannery, who has been with Duan from the beginning of his work and been his advisor on your question or questions that you would like to put forward in consideration of the others that have already been asked.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dev. Duan, it's good to see you here. I know we've been talking, you've been thinking about these ideas for a long time, and you put a lot into I guess that's what Dr. Davis was saying, the stretch of time to make this as comprehensive as possible. One of the things I wanted to mention, because you don't have a lot of time when you're presenting, but you put a lot more things in the actual piece. I like that you separated masculinity from manhood in this discussion. Um, I think this is something that it seems subtle, but in the growing Black male studies, those conversations are going in different directions. So it's kind of like you're cataloging yourself in the people who do manhood rather than masculinity. Masculinity tends to get into like gender performance, like you were saying, and
Right.
manhood is focusing on like, well, what did they do though? Like, what are their roles and responsibilities? So I think that became consistent with what you were trying to prove with your question. So I like that. Some people may think these theories don't go together: Afrocentricity, intersectionality, and Black male studies theory by Tommy Curry. What in the world? And so I think you were very careful with that. And that could be something that you probably, um, if you turn this into a book, you need to flesh out more where people won't just accept you saying those things together, but it actually works. It would seem that Tommy Curry and intersectionality don't go together, but I think, like to your point, that his point is that Black men are not afforded the nuances of intersectionality the way that other people are. That if you can, in that methodology part, just massage that more. So we're seeing this relationship between cultural values and roles traditionally, and this sort of confrontation of what happens in the diaspora and how we're using these lenses to explore that, and that it actually is seamless in some way. Like,
Yeah.
yes. So my question, um, is more so already in the work, but you didn't really talk about it today. Like, you didn't really talk about the findings. So you asked this question of how is Black manhood understood by Black men? And I'm hoping you can discuss a little bit more. Um, what's the answer to that?
About how it
In
is
the contemporary
like,
era, how Black men actually are defining Black manhood.
yeah. So within my conversations uh, oftentimes Black men are still holding ideas of being protectors and providers, but aside from that, the main addition to that is being emotionally intelligent. And because a lot of the men I interview have children and are married or in relationships. So emotional intelligence, aside from being a protector and provider and being nurturing and self-determined and goal-oriented, emotional intelligence was the main key, along with emphasizing or prioritizing their mental health. Those were the new additions aside from the traditional Afrocentric values that Sir McDougall kind of mentioned. Those are some additional ideas that they all kind of shared with emphasizing the importance of mental health and being emotionally intelligent for their children and their partners, and being held accountable, the importance of being held accountable by their their circle, whether it be family or friends, and the importance of having positive people around you to push you to do positive things.
Okay, yeah, that's really good. I have one last simple question. We talked about this before. Um, I'm always looking for rationale, so, and this is more of a historiography anyways.
Hmm.
Why start in Kemet as
Hmm.
opposed to West Africa when you're transitioning? Because there's that huge gap of time. Why start there instead of starting in West Africa as you transition into slavery and thereafter,
Hmm.
as
I,
the only representation of sort of African traditional values?
yeah, I thought it was important I think it is important to start with at West Africa because it lays the foundation of how African people, African men performed or explored manhood during that time. And I think when it comes to Western Africa, there's a lot of Christian and Arabic influence when it comes to gender performance. And I kind of wanted to minimize that within my research and to focus specifically on what they were doing in ancient times and correlate that to what's going on now, because I think that it can kind of get tricky when it comes to Western Africa and how they perform manhood, because while they do have positive expressions of it, there are also um, outlets that are not as pro-woman as ancient Africa uh, traditions are. So I kind of wanted to differentiate the difference between the two and not complicate my main focus of Afrocentric masculinity being pro-women.
Mhm. That's a good answer, I think, for the future editions. When you're not encountering Afrocentric scholars, there
Hmm.
has you have to actually write that in more clearly, because people
Hmm.
will be like, okay, 2000 BC and then
Yeah,
1800, that don't go. So, but yes, I totally understand your rationale. We appreciate you so much. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much, Dr. Flannery, for your questions. And it's now my turn, and I really, appreciate your answers. I wanted to really focus on really more on you and why you chose this particular subject area. I mean, it may be obvious because you're a Black man with locks and have to live in that guise, so to speak. But I'd really, like to get from your position, your choice and the things that led you to writing this important work.
And the inspiration with it is mainly because of the conversations about Black toxic masculinity and me having positive male role models in my life. I didn't want these social media conversations or think pieces to become the common idea of what Black manhood is. And I wanted to be the leading literature when it comes to, okay, what do Black men see for themselves? How do Black men define masculinity, well, define manhood within their experiences instead of letting outside literature define and speak for us? I think it was important for Black men to finally speak up for themselves and define their experiences about manhood so our experiences won't be muddled and confused by what others are saying based on the foundational texts of Stanley Elkins and Moynihan. So emphasizing the importance of Black men speaking about manhood for themselves and defining it for themselves. So later generations can understand what Black manhood is.
Thank you, and what it could be.
Yeah.
Also, just to add to that, I know that you're also a teacher.
Yeah. I just got off of work.
And therefore a role model. So
Mhm.
I wondered, did that have any influence your experience as a teacher?
Yeah. And as I was teaching at Sankofa, I was the rites of passage teacher. And even recently, I still go back to do their rites of passage senior trip that they do. And even with my conversations with the young men, my former students, because I first presented my defense and dissertation to them and seeing how they were receptive towards it. And they were grateful for the opportunity to seeing the different understandings of Black manhood because one of my students had asked me, well, how do we know these common stereotypes about Black manhood isn't based on how Black men were acting at this time? Like, are they not based on how Black men portrayed themselves during this time? And I think because we are getting, as young people think further or further away from history, and it's not often being discussed in schools, the how Black manhood is defined through uh, socially can get lost. And it was important for me to emphasize how these stereotypes and definitions came about and to reinstitute more positive African values and representations of Black manhood.
Well, thank you very much, Duan. And I do think as an Africologist that you've taken a good road in developing the discipline because that's why we're here in Africology to do that. And so I thank you for taking that route because the significance of Kemet, as you so clearly and articulately express, is actually a very important part of the discipline of Africology. So now I think and correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Flannery, do we go to a room now to discuss, or do we open up for some questions?
Um, let's look at the time. We could probably take at least pull one question from the audience while Dewan, because you created the Zoom, can start to construct a breakout room for the committee. If there's
Okay.
anyone who has a dying question, you can raise your hand. Uh-oh, Dr. Peterson Lewis. Okay, please.
Hey, Duan, thank you for taking on a study that seems like it's going to have considerable significance. You said, if I understood correctly, you interviewed friends and family.
Yeah.
How many total people?
10.
And do you think, do you have any, perceive any limitations or concerns about interviewing people you know and people who know you?
Mhm.
A theory called impression management theory that says
Mhm.
that we tend to try to manage the impressions that other people have of us when we're interacting with people. We figure out what they already know about us, and sometimes we often try to be consistent with that. What concerns do you have about the generalizability of your findings, or maybe that wasn't the purpose to find generalizable results?
Mhm.
What concerns do you have about just interviewing people you know?
And I forgot to mention it because I was also intertwining it with conversations with Black men who had podcasts who discussed Black manhood within their platforms, whether it be Deontay Kyle or Jason Williams, some of the leading Black male intellectuals within social media now. And I kind of correlated that to say that Black men with my research are kind of saying the same thing about
No,
emphasizing the
that's a
importance of mental health and emotional vulnerability within their community. And though I had used my friends and family, I was also using outside platforms and other social media pundits and what they said about Black manhood and their experiences to kind
Mhm.
of form an overall synopsis about how Black men.
Okay. How do you think your results might differ if people were anonymous, not uh, profiling for public media, not performing for public media, and
Mm,
if they knew that that information was never going to be attached to their name? Interviewing people you know can have some benefits. It can also have some big cost in terms
mm,
of the veracity of what people are willing to tell you. No, people don't want to damage their image with you, or they want to keep a certain image, or they want to present a certain image. How do you think? Do you think your results might have differed if you were interviewing people anonymously, or if people were responding to, say, an online questionnaire where they knew their face was never going to be associated with what they said?
yeah.
Before
Uh,
you answer the question, can the committee click the button to join the breakout room while Dewan can continue to take and answer questions, please?
Okay.
Thank you.
Can you press it again for me? Because I said not now because we were,
Homie reenacting.
so I may not get there.
Let me see.
You okay? You're good?
Mhm.
This is the first time I've had this much power to assign breakout rooms. So I had to try it again.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
Will it allow you to click it now?
I don't see the little sign. A little sign came up for me saying you can join the breakout room now. And
Mm,
because you were in conversation. I didn't want to join the breakout room while you were still speaking, so I'm here outside the breakout room as a result.
Let me see. I might have to,
Do it over.
yeah. Sorry, guys. Oh,
Click on more and then breakout rooms and advisor there.
He might have to close the other breakout room first.
more. Hold on.
I think they're all in there.
More breakout rooms. Ooh. Oh, I gotta redo it.
Okay, so sorry about that.
It's all good because I already closed it. It got asked to close out before I edit another one.
Okay.
All right. Sorry, guys. I'm recreating it now. Hmm. Take your time responding to this one, Dr. Dove.
Okay, thank you.
So the last part, you said that repeat the. Oh, do I think that my results would have changed if it
Oh,
was anonymous?
yes, yes. If you interviewed if people were interviewing anonymously, if they
Mhm.
didn't think that what they said could be traced back to them,
Yeah,
and if they didn't know you, and you didn't know
yeah.
them.
I'm not sure because I think that I offer a safe space to my friends. I felt as if they were being more vulnerable than I've ever heard them speak. So a lot of it was a shock to me to hear them share similar stances about emotional health and emotional maturity and mental health. So I don't think so because I think that the people that I share with, they were being upfront and vulnerable in those moments, and they were being honest about how they viewed Black manhood and their
Okay, I
experiences.
won't labor on. Somebody else may want to ask a question.
Thank you, though, Dr. Peterson Lewis. What's going on, YouTube?
Hey, congratulations. I'm so excited. So, okay, I have a question that kind of goes back to what you were saying about your introduction. I'm sure it's in the paper, like the overall paper, and you were
Mhm.
taking us through everything you were talking about. But if we take the Jamel Hill comments, right? Black
Mhm.
men are the white people of black people, and those theories that you put together at the end, like the ideas of intersectionality and all of this scholarship, what kind of, in I guess, like an elevator pitch, layman's terms way, how would you use the work that you've developed here um as a response to that? I mean, I don't know, I forget how many like characters you get on threads or on Twitter or whatever, but like how could you give us, in 150 characters or whatever, a response to Jamel Hill with all of the things that you've written about?
I would say that the Black manhood is more nuanced than those experiences that, of course, there are um, Black men who have done unjust things and have been um, haven't done right, but it is unfair for that to be the encompassing narrative behind Black manhood. And it's important to allow other Black man experiences to define what Black manhood is instead of the few. And it's important to have speak positively about Black men. We don't want our narrative to be something that doesn't reflect our community positively. All right, cool.
Thanks, nephew.
All right, love you. Okay, so we have a question in the chat. Jasmine asks, how would the results have changed if you had a wider range of participants? Is this something you are looking to do in the future? So I also expanded it to the students that I taught at Sankofa and asked them similar questions this year and last year's rites of passage. Last year they had written it down and I had missed I had lost the papers, so I wasn't able to contribute that to my findings. But more recently, I have a newer, updated version of what my students said about their experiences of manhood and having role models within the community. So I think, but even with that, they were emphasizing the importance of mental health, like I was saying. And there were more, of course, with interviewing more Black men, there is a you're more likely to experience Black men who didn't have positive male role models in the house. But a lot of the people that I had discussions with had positive male role models in their house. So it kind of set the foundation for them to see Black manhood in a positive light, whether it be determined, family oriented, etc. So I'm looking to include what my students has said to give more of a Gen Z kind of understanding of how the younger generations see and experience Black manhood. Okay.
Really quick, Duan. Thank you for that. I was like running around, so I didn't want to like miss your answer. Thank
Okay.
you for that. And I definitely do see where you are coming from. I think that this research has a lot of potential, and I'm wondering, like, say if you were, I don't know if you plan on saying like local in Philadelphia, but if you were able to do a study like within like different communities here in Philadelphia and get that like a larger sample size to
Mhm.
kind of like gauge what like people are thinking just outside of, the relationships that we may have because a lot of times like we share the same attitudes and values. So I'm wondering how you think that your research would kind of like shift or change if you were able to reach out to people like outside of that. So, one of the committee members brought up something to like, Black manhood within like the 60s and 70s and like comparing that to now. So I'm thinking like if you had like different generations talking about like the constructions of manhood or masculinity, how that would impact your work and how you see that influencing the way that, younger generations coming up would be able to define their manhood for themselves.
Yeah, and thank you, Jasmine. And that's why it was important for me to have the interview with my grandfather because him growing up in the 50s and his experience of being in a Black dominated community in Richmond and seeing Black doctors and lawyers, he expressed to me that Black men were always present and being uh, role models to them growing up. And if his friends didn't have fathers, his dad would be their father in the community. And even when speaking to my dad about his experience and not knowing his father, there were other male role models within his community, within his family and extended family who showed up for him during that time. And I am not opposed to extending it to a broader range of people. I think it will be similar experiences, and going forward, when I am uh, in different spaces, I think it will be impactful to get under different understandings based on location, how they experience Black manhood as well. So I will take that into consideration.
Thank you.
Ooh, this is like a TED Talk. Okay. Um, how do you think anti-Black misandry impacts the construction of manhood? So, for those who don't know, misandry is I'm not gonna say hate, but the dislike of men. Similar is the opposite of misogyny, the dislike for males. And when it comes to how do I think that anti-Black misandry impacts Black men's construction of manhood, I think that it gives way to platforms within the red pill space who kind of emphasize their platforms about the victimhood of Black men. And that's why I kind of briefly talked about oppressive consciousness, because I think a lot of times when Black men see anti-Black misandry, their first retort to it is to counter with how Black men are victims too. And I think that while these experiences do happen, I think it kind of dwindles down the importance of what Black manhood is. I think it's important to emphasize the agency that Black manhood have instead of focusing on simply, oh, this Black man was killed by his woman or his wife today. Like those platforms kind of are emphasizing this because this is a hot topic and they are seeking engagement with this. And I think it's kind of a snowball effect rather than tackling what the true um, problem is, which is allowing Black men to speak for themselves and having a positive representation about Black manhood.
Well,
Yeah,
Duan,
okay.
Duan, your committee is back from deliberation, and thank you to all the people who waited to the end. Um, we discussed and we decided with some of the recommendations for the final revisions that today on June 16th, you passed your dissertation defense. So, as we ritualistically do, congratulations to Dr. Duan Woods. It's been a journey. Congratulations to you and your family.
Yes, and thank you all for coming to support me. Uh, Professor Verdell was one of the first people who saw a talent in me at Morgan and kind of pushed me to do my research within this for my master's as a graduating senior at Morgan. So I'm grateful for her pushing me to further my education and understand that I had potential to expand my capabilities within education and go as far as I wanted to go if I was pushed. So I'm grateful for her and my family, my aunts, my mom, my dad, my brothers and sisters, and everybody else who constantly checked up on me and gave me advice and gave me support through it all. Is that it?
Well
Yes.
done. Excellent.
Okay. Okay.
Well deserved. You can linger here. I'll be leaving the room, and it's so good to see so many of you. And what a wonderful committee. Thank you, Dr. Dove, for your service. Thank you, Dr. Peterson Lewis, for always keeping us on top of our methods. Thank you, Dr. Davis, for all your excellent work with Duan and Dr. Williams, of course.
Thank you
Be
all.
well, everyone.
Be well.
I'm here if y'all have questions that I didn't
I
get
just
to.
wanted to mention that I see Kevin Robinson here, the author of Can't Break Me, How I Shifted My Mindset and Overcame the Odds, who came to our department. He's on the bestsellers book list, and he's at your dissertation defense. That's a big deal.
For real? I didn't even, okay. Oh, thank you for showing up. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
You are very welcome. You did a great job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Too bad you can't give autographs through. Congratulations, Duan. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, we have to celebrate you. Yay! Congrats!
Congratulations, Duan.
Thank you.
Now we just gotta know where the party at.
Right.
In a few weeks. We'll celebrate in a few weeks.
Yeah.
After I take a nap.
How do you feel? Are you sweating?
How you feel?
I
Why
feel
am I
good.
say, why we say the same thing?
I don't know why I thought I'd be more emotional. Like I thought I'd be crying, but I'm fine now.
Well, I
Okay.
was. I mean, you couldn't.
Because when I was leaving work and I was heading home, I was like, damn, I'm really not doing this. And I was about to cry, head into my apartment. I was like, nah, I'm gonna save it for later. I know I'll be more emotional later, but I'm fine. So I'm grateful though.
Yeah. Well, I did it for you. I was crying for you.
Alicia was crying.
Congratulations, Duan. I've been attentive from the beginning to the end. So I'm so proud of you and congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is that back there? We see you,
Yeah. Congrats, nephew.
Yes. Whoop, whoop.
You did so good. How did you feel about those questions?
Dr. Williams prefaced me because I feel like she had the toughest questions or the most thought-provoking questions, but she prefaced me her questions were going to be beforehand. So I was grateful.
Okay.
Oh, that's good.
When
Yeah.
she had sent it to me, I said, "Do professors typically send the questions before?" Like I was stunned that she was even sending them to me. But I don't.
But that's nice though. That's like a real courtesy.
And
Why
she's
you didn't
like,
tell me Dr. Davis was on your committee, Duan?
I did.
No, you did not. You did not. When he popped up in there today, I said, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
You remember our conversation when I was saying that the lady was being rejective about me not having someone within the black masculinity, and I said Dr. Davis is in that realm, so I argued that he fit that space that she was.
Wait, but did you say his full name? Probably
You
not.
probably said Dr.
Maybe
Davis.
said Dr. Davis.
Maybe not.
Maybe you said Dr. Davis because I'm like, James Earl Davis is him. Like,
yeah,
that's him.
Yeah, I'm grateful to have him a part of my committee. We a couple sessions together. He's been very supportive and helpful with my research.
He's great. I was like, that is a beautiful omen. When I saw him in here, I was like, I didn't even know he was on Duan's committee. That's great. Like
when I was looking for another committee member, and I was looking within the Temple
Mm-hmm.
staff, and because I referenced him on one of my chapters.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the same dude? And I was like, oh,
Wow. Yeah, he was one of the people that really helped Cecil through.
hmm
He's him. He's in my area. He's in education.
hmm
Um, but yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, to have somebody that you're like citing on your committee to is already like really exciting. And then him in particular, like so supportive, so thoughtful, really
Yeah,
read your stuff for real.
yeah, I'm grateful.
Yeah,
Yeah,
congratulations. You
yeah,
should
that's
be
good
so
stuff.
feel so proud of yourself. Good
Yeah.
job.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Where's your sister? Where'd your brother go? Back to work.
Oh man, oh yeah, he did drop off. He was on though.
He
Hello.
was, yeah, he was on here.
What's up, Neil?
There she is.
Oh, Nene on the phone.
You see her
Brooklyn
one?
is well
Hey, Neil.
represented.
Yes. Yeah.
Yay. Okay, what are you gonna do now, Duan? Are you gonna go take a nap?
Yeah, I'm gonna eat
You know he got to get his nap in.
and take a nap.
But I had a friend who was like, she finished her dissertation in her house by herself, and she was like, I just went to bed.
I'm about to go take a nap. Is Marcy still here?
Load off.
What'd you say?
No, I was asking if Marche was still here.
Oh, it looks like
Oh,
it.
she was. Yeah, looks like she's there.
I know she had to run errands. She might be with her girl. But yeah, I'm about to eat breakfast and
Maybe she's multitasking.
yeah.
Eat breakfast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I eat all day.
Okay.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay,
All right, well, congrats, nephew. Good
Yes, yes,
job,
yes.
Congrats.
Dr. Woods.
Congratulations,
Congratulations.
Dr.
Now we have two
Yeah.
doctors.
Yeah.
You
All
gotta change
right.
your name. Rename yourself, Dewan.
Yeah.
On Zoom.
Instagram is as far as I'll go.
Oh, no, I meant rename it on here on the Zoom.
Oh, you talking about right now. Oh,
Yeah, you
Yes.
gotta change it to
Yes.
doctor.
Screenshot, take a screenshot.
Come on, doctor.
Wait, we gotta do before and after.
I'll tell you a funny story. When I told you how my man was having a carnival, like an adult carnival,
Yep.
and this is after I posted like my graduation pictures and stuff. And people were coming up to congratulate me. She's like, congrats, doc, etc. So a friend of a friend, he was like, oh, you a doctor now? Oh, you really about to be out here saving lives. I said,
In a matter of
yeah,
speaking.
in education, yeah, educational lives.
In a matter of speaking, yes. In a matter of speaking, saving lives. That's funny. Okay, you gotta.
You take it.
I took the other one, yeah.
All right.
Yes. Ceremonial! And on my screen, we're right next to each other. Yes.
Yes. You gotta say something so I can capture it on my thing. So you'll show up in the speaking.
For me,
thing.
I had to say something.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
I knew this was
Got
going to
it.
happen. I'm not surprised by it at all. You know, some things are just destiny in the making. So I'm grateful.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes. Exciting.
Yeah.
All
Through it
right.
all.
Evening.
Yes. Now back to the grind
Right.
of
Yeah, I got 2 more days left of work. So once my job life is over, then I'll be able to fully embrace it.
celebrate.
Yeah. So
All
what do they
right.
call
Love
you
you,
now,
Devon.
Mr. Woods? Are you gonna say Dr. Woods?
No, some of my students found out that I was a doctor and they started calling me doctor already. So
That's
They
nice.
started calling you Dr. Woods already? Oh,
Mhm.
nice.
yeah, I don't have to call me that, but I appreciate
Yes.
That's nice.
yeah, they was like, what do you get your doctorate in? I said, philosophy. It's like, oh, so you're like Socrates now.
Okay. Yeah.
They that whole class period, they were asking me philosophical questions. I was
I
like,
love it.
That is true. A doctor of philosophy.
but yeah.
Yes. All right. Well, go take your rest. Have something good to eat.
Thank y'all for supporting me. I'll
Now,
see y'all later.
Everyone.
Yeah,
Yes. Bye. Love
yeah.
you.
Love you.
You're
yeah,
welcome. Love you, Dewan.
Appreciate it.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
one.
See you.
Bye bye.
peace.